In August 1945, 2 atomic bombs were dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. To this day, opinion remains divided as to the real reason behind America's decision to use nuclear weapons.
There was no possible military justification for dropping the bomb on Japan.
No question that there were those in the U.S. military who perceived the next enemy as the Soviet Union.
The planning in October of 1945 had chosen 20 targets in Russia.
In the 70 years since the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, countless books and films have offered many justifications for and arguments against dropping the A-bombs. However, declassified documents give weight to the argument that the bombs were dropped not out of military necessity, but to intimidate the Soviet Union. The first ever atomic bomb to be used in war was dropped here on the city of Hiroshima on the 6th of August 1945. Well over 100,000 citizens were killed. Those in the hypocenter were instantly turned into dust, while countless others died from the burns and high dose of radiation they received. Over 50,000 survivors, or hibakusha, still live in the city. Each one of them has their own story to tell of the day the bomb fell, and I was on my way to meet one. So which one's the house? Yeah?
Konnichiwa. Peter. Peter.
桑原です。
どうも。
狭いとこですけど。
狭いところなんで。
あれ主人です。お父さん。
はい、はじめまして、ゴンサルです。
主人も被爆者です。原爆でお母さんも、2人のお姉さんも亡くなっています。
Chiyoko Kuwabara was just a 13-year-old schoolgirl that day, and as I was about to find out, recalling those events hasn't become any easier, even after 70 years.
警戒警報になってないでしょ。だから私は日本の飛行機です。子供ですから、ずっと草木の下にいたみんなが立ち上がってずっと目でその飛行機を追った時にドーン。死体がこんなに漏れてるんです。そこのところをお母さんが子供を探すにこう歩くとね、お母ちゃんいう声が聞こえるんです。親は変わり果てた子供の顔を見ても自分の子供だと気がつかない。子供はお母さんを分かる。小枝を取ってきましてね、いっぱい蛆が湧いてるんです。それを痛い痛い言うのをお母さん一つずつね、これを取らないと明日は灰になってね、また子を見つけるから。だからじゃあ辛抱してねと言ってお母さんが取ったらしいんですよ。でも亡くなった。そういうようなことを思いましたね。本当は私の気持ちの中では終戦も来ませんね。
I was happy it worked. We had been in a long war. We had been attacked by the Japanese. The Japanese people were not nice people in those days. The policy of the United States government at that time was to subdue the nation of Japan. And I was willing to do anything I could do to help that out.
It was President Harry S. Truman who made the decision to drop the atomic bomb. He'd only been in office for a little under 4 months.
A short time ago, an American airplane dropped one bomb on Hiroshima and destroyed its usefulness to the enemy. With this bomb, we have now added a new and revolutionary increase in destruction. What has been done is the greatest achievement of organized science in history.
Peter, yeah. How do you think the grandson of the president who decided to drop the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, how do you think he's going to see the legacy of it?
I don't know, I mean, what a thing to be born into, though. Your granddad dropped the bomb, which killed hundreds of thousands of Japanese people, and you've got to live with that legacy. So in many ways, you can't really have your own life because of that. So I'm quite excited to see how his granddad's decision has affected his personal life, because after all, he wasn't the one that dropped the bomb, but he's been drawn into this, hasn't he, because of his name.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Peter. Peter, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, my wife Polly.
Oh, nice to meet you, Polly. Thanks so much for coming out to meet us. I guess you must be in demand with the anniversary coming up.
Yeah.
In August, yeah?
Yeah.
In a good way?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how celebrities, real celebrities, manage this all the time.
Then how do you feel being interviewed, given your relationship with your grandfather? Has he got like annoying sometimes that you kind of, we're constantly associated, I don't mean that.
Yeah, no, I understand completely. When I was a kid, yeah, very annoying sometimes because you're a teenager and you're trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And what you turn out to be for a lot of people is an adjunct to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So they, oh, your grandfather was wonderful, and oh, I remember your grandfather.
Yeah.
Thanks. As I've gotten older, no, it's, there's a legacy.
Yeah.
And you do with it what you can.
So it's a legacy that you couldn't avoid.
Oh, I could have.
Yeah.
You
chose to.
Chose not to. Yeah, I when I was in my late 30s, I kind of rediscovered my grandfather as a human being. Okay. I mean, the history is always there.
With the sense of victory in the air, the Allies were already looking forward to a post-war world by the Potsdam Conference on the 18th of July 1945. Russian-American relations had been fairly good under Roosevelt, but Truman was an unknown quantity to Stalin, and this meeting marked a turning point in relations between the Allies.
Truman at Potsdam did indicate to Stalin that we had a new weapon. He did not specify what it was, and he believed that Stalin did not know. And Stalin's response was nonchalant, which was, well, I hope you use it to good effect against the enemy. What we now know from a variety of sources, including former Soviet sources, is that Stalin knew very well what Truman was talking about through his own sources in espionage.
Сталин понял то, что это, очевидно, атомная бомба, и то, что Соединенные Штаты Америки, они не предоставили раньше информацию Советскому Союзу. И известны слова Трумэна о том, что если атомная бомба взорвется, я буду обладать теперь дубиной для того, чтобы показать этим русским парням свою мощь, свою силу.
What's on the card?
So they've got Sumitero's business card, and it's got a picture of the injuries he received after the atomic bomb went off in Nagasaki.
さっき冒頭に16歳でね、爆心地から約2キロですね。2キロのところを自転車で走っていて、後ろから焼かれました。私は被爆してから3年7ヶ月のね、病院で生活しました。1年9ヶ月はうつ病の中、うつ病のままでね、それで過ごしました。
Sumiteru Taniguchi was delivering mail when a second plutonium bomb called Fat Man fell on Nagasaki. Heat from the blast melted the skin on his back and left arm. Footage of his horrific injuries has become iconic, and Sumiteru is now a living symbol of the suffering caused by the bombs.
背中がね、焼けて、腐ってなっちまって、骨まで焼けてる。ところで骨まで腐ってしまって、その骨が変形してね、心臓と肺の中にめり込んでいて、だって今苦しいんです。56年にですね、日本で被爆者の会が作られて、でそれとともに核兵器禁止運動が始まって、それからこっちずっと原爆について話し始めました。
This city wasn't the original target for the second bomb. Fatsman was destined for Kokora, but the weather was too overcast, a bit like today. So the Boxcar B-29 changed course and headed to its secondary target, Nagasaki. Just 3 days after Hiroshima, on the 9th of August, the second atomic bomb exploded with a destructive force of 21 kilotons of TNT and killed over 70,000 of the city's residents. The comprehensive firebombing campaign conducted before the A-bombs had left Japan in ruins. The US already had the country blockaded and cut off from food and fuel.
The U.S. strategic bombing survey that was done at the end of the war concluded that the Japanese would have surrendered even if the bomb had not been used, even if the invasion had not gone forward, that they would have surrendered prior to the November 1st, which I think was the date for Operation Olympic, the invasion of the home islands.
So why did the US drop the bombs?
That's what historians are debating. And I think that Truman was hoping for a dual strategy. One was to try to drop the bombs and hope that Japan would surrender before the Russians got in, so the Russians would not get all those concessions that we had promised them, number one. But number two, and equally if not more important, the Americans were trying to send a message to the Soviet Union.
With each country looking to carve out their spheres of influence after the war, relations between East and West rapidly declined. America realized that nuclear power equaled political power on the world stage, and documents from as early as 1945 suggest that the Allies were turning against each other.
The planning actually in October of 1945 had chosen 20 targets in Russia. Moscow and Leningrad were also included on the target list early on, and as I understand it, just from talking to some of the war planners, the designated ground zero was to be either the Kremlin itself or it was a power plant that was very close to the Kremlin. As the bombs got larger, they would move the designated ground zero to a point so that it would destroy more targets just with one weapon.
Это как раз разработка объединенная, как он, Joint Intelligence Committee, 250-й серии, где как раз говорилось о том, что Советский Союз ослаблен, и, очевидно, он будет вести агрессивную политику против Соединенных Штатов Америки. И, соответственно, необходимо разрабатывать планы с учетом всех этих обстоятельств. В дальнейшем эти разработки лишь увеличивали количество советских городов, предназначенных для ядерного удара. План Клещи, дальше дропшот. По мере увеличения конфронтации политической между Советским Союзом и Соединенными Штатами Америки увеличилось и количество городов, количество целей на территории Советского Союза для ядерной бомбардировки.
Point 4, within the foreseeable future, a war between the United States and Russia will be the result of a miscalculation by Russian leaders of the capabilities and intention of the United States. And they even got a map of all the different industrial centers in Russia the US planned to target. Sanai Ikeda is an 82-year-old Nagasaki bomb survivor. Both he and his daughter, Naoko, travel around schools talking to children about the war. Sanai uses cartoons to help him share with a younger audience his experience of the day the bomb fell.
原爆が落とされる朝はですね、いつもと変わらない天気がいい日だったんですが、その時はですね、空襲警報が鳴っておりましたが、その時そのアメリカの飛行機からはもう落下傘に吊るされた原爆が落ちてきているんです。その時の光が私のこの手にやけどする皮が剥げて血が出ましたが、母は私より15メーターぐらい離れた先の方に爆風で飛ばされて、母を見つけて逃げ出すんですが、 ちょうど真ん中あたりまで戻ってきた時に真っ黒焦げの人間が歩いて逃げてきた人に会いました。その真っ黒焦げのおじさんはただもう長崎の町は全滅しました。それから急いで家に戻って母と帰ってくるんです。怪我をしたりやけどをしてほとんど逃げる場所がなくて細長い溝があるところにみんな入っておりますと言うんです。これは妹の背格好に違いないと思ってあげてみたんですが、もう真っ黒焦げで顔もありません。もうこのパンツのゴム紐が細長いゴム紐が10センチぐらい残っておりました。表面は表の方は原爆の熱線で燃えてるんですけど、裏をひっくり返してみた時に小さな赤い花模様が残っているので、あ、これが妹だと分かりました。真っ黒焦げの鈴子を父と2人でその広場で材木を集めて火葬しました。とうとう私の兄弟は5人とも全部死んでいって誰もいなくなって、父と母と私だけになりました。
I think that the bombs were believed at the time to be necessary. As General Marshall, who was head of the U.S. military during the war, said after the war, we didn't want to have to invade Japan. We knew we would kill many Japanese and many Americans would die as well.
That was Truman's justification, to save 500,000 American lives that would otherwise have been lost if they'd invaded the mainland. What I don't understand is how people who have presumably studied the same documents and facts come to such different conclusions about the bombings.
I don't understand it either. To me, it's such a clear-cut issue. If you look at what the U.S. intelligence was saying, if you look at the comments of American leaders at the time, in fact, 6 of America's 7 5-star admirals and generals who got their 5th star during the war are on record as saying that the bomb was either militarily unnecessary, morally reprehensible, or both. You can't come to any other conclusion than that the bomb was not necessary, that the Soviet invasion was going to end the war, that the U.S. invasion was not going to begin till November 1st. So we dropped the bomb on August 6th and August 9th. Our invasion is not going to take place for 3 more months. Why do we do it? Well, you have to conclude that we wanted to do it.
Chiyoko agreed to show me around the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum. For her, it brings back mixed emotions, terrible memories of the bomb, but also happy ones from her wedding, which was held in the grounds. The Hiroshima city government has suggested removing some of the exhibits over concerns that children find them frightening. But Chiyoko doesn't think they're realistic enough.
顔を見てください。綺麗です。スタイルもいいです。こんだけ被爆してたらこういうような頭の紙じゃないんです。あそこにも一人おってですけど、綺麗でしょ。あそこは赤い丸がありますね。あそこが爆心地。あの近くなんです。800メートルですから。こういうような兵隊さんがたくさん病院にいましたからね、この写真を見るとね、私もつらい、かわいそう、みんな亡くなったと思う。
Do I regret the atomic mission? I regret we had to do it, but I think we had to do it in order to end the war with a minimum loss of life. If the same situation existed again, exactly as it had back in 1945, yes, I would go on it. I would volunteer for it, as a matter of fact. I'd want to go on it.
And I believe you're working on your own book about the bombing.
Right, yeah, a memoir.
A memoir,
with, yeah
What's your angle? Is this more of a personal?
It is. It's a personal. It's sort of the change from I like most Americans, born in that time and growing up after the war. The bombs were a great thing. They ended the war. They saved hundreds of thousands of lives on both sides. And that's what my grandfather always said was his reason for the decision, to end the war and save American lives primarily that would otherwise likely be lost in an invasion of the main islands. So I went from not giving it much thought at all to being confronted one day with the reality that people lost their lives and in horrible ways.
Japan is still counting the cost of the A-bombs. The government makes monthly healthcare payments to the survivors to help with treatment, not just for the physical effects of radiation exposure, but also the psychological impact. Many of them come to this clinic set up especially for the hibakusha in Hiroshima.
この中には300人の被爆者の方が生活しておられます。今、原爆被爆者で問題になっているのは、放射線によって起こってきていると思われる病気のことと、それからもう一つは老化。病気は例えばがんとか、いろんな種類のがんが出てきますし、心筋梗塞もその中の一つですけども。これ作るのに何日ぐらいかかった？
気が向いたら、1週間ぐらいでできるし、気が向かなきゃ1ヶ月かかること。
ありがとう。
ありがとう。
同僚が原爆で3人しか生き残らなかったんですよ。残ったのがあと550何人全部死んじゃったんですよ。
精神的なんですけども、一番いわゆる PTSD ですけども、原爆の時にもう二度と見たくないようなシーンを頭に覚えてるんですね。それを時々思い出す、いわゆるフラッシュバックですから、それを少ないように我々は介護に努めております。
After the war, the Japanese constitution was changed by the Americans and it's remained in place ever since, including Article 9, which prohibits Japan from having its own military. But the country can still protect itself with its self-defense forces, including its fleet, which is partly based here at the American naval base in Yokosuka. Nowhere is the American incursion more evident than on Dobuita Street, or the Honch as it's known by the sailors. It's just a stone's throw from the naval base. Anytime, baby. I have no idea what that means. It's the place to go if you want a Navy burger or to go shopping at the Army surplus store. And Rock City seems to be particularly popular among Yokosuka's foreign guests. Looks like the American sailors are making the most of their downtime here. However, the US base in Okinawa is probably the most controversial. It's home to 21,000 service personnel, more than 1 in 3 of all American soldiers based in the Asia-Pacific region, and the locals want them gone.
Okinawa 米軍日本のところで切り離されて、アメリカの軍事植民地になりまして、ですからその時のアメリカが勝手に私の住んでる家ですとか畑を米兵が銃突きつけてブルドーザーで火をつけて家屋とか畑を焼いて、それを米軍基地に取り上げました。ですからもともとは私たち県民の土地ですから、私がすれば 沖縄が日本に復帰した時は、当然平和憲法が適用されますから、個人の私有財産というのは保障されますから、とにかく戦争のために県民の土地は使わせたくないということで、とにかく沖縄から基地をなくしてくれと、もともとの地主を支援する運動をしている団体です。
Despite the atomic bombings, Japan and the United States have an amicable and close relationship today. However, no incumbent US president has visited Hiroshima or Nagasaki, and America has yet to receive an apology for the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Truman lived until he was 88 and stood by his decision to drop the atomic bombs till the day he died.
So you don't think there will be an official apology?
No, I don't think there will be. I don't, there's no harm in talking about it, and I don't know that it'll ever be an apology. Maybe the two countries could find language that brings them together to say, we acknowledge that serious hurt was done on both sides, and we own that, and going forward, it doesn't feel at this point that it will ever be a flat-out apology from the U.S. to Japan, or the other way around. I don't know that the United States has ever asked Japan for an apology for Pearl Harbor, or that they've offered it.
So what do you think about America now?
どんないいことを言っても、どんな素晴らしい行動をとっても、私は本当に自分の心の底からアメリカがね、やってるようには思えませんね。私もオバマさんが大統領になった時に核は減らしますと言ったのに、減らすどころか増えてます。その言葉の責任を取る意味でも、やはり広島、長崎へ行って、ちゃんと皆さんに頭を下げてもらいたいなと思いますよ。
Following the atomic bombing of two cities, over 300,000 Japanese lost their lives. If plans to attack the USSR had actually been carried out, in which 20 cities were targeted, including population centers like Moscow, Leningrad and Sverdlovsk, the number of lives lost would have been in the millions. Fortunately, that never happened, but it did mark the start of a new era, the Cold War. The first ever atomic bomb to be used in war was dropped here on the city of Hiroshima on the 6th of August 1945. Well over 100,000 citizens were killed. Those in the hypocenter were instantly turned into dust, while countless others died from the burns and high dose of radiation they received. Over 50,000 survivors, or hibakusha, still live in the city. Each one of them has their own story to tell of the day the bomb fell, and I was on my way to meet one.
So which one's the house? This is the house? Yeah?
Konnichiwa. Peter さん。ピーター。
桑原です。
どうも。
狭いとこですけど。
狭いところなんで。
あれ主人です。お父さん。
はい、はじめまして、ゴンサルです。
主人も被爆者です。原爆でお母さんも、2人のお姉さんも亡くなっています。
Chiyoko Kuwabara was just a 13-year-old schoolgirl that day, and as I was about to find out, recalling those events hasn't become any easier, even after 70 years.
警戒警報になってないでしょ。だから私は日本の飛行機、子供ですから、ずっとクスルクの下にいたみんなが立ち取ったらしいんですよ。でも亡くなった、そういうようなことを思いましたね。本当は私の気持ちの中では終戦も来ませんね。
I was happy it worked. We had been in a long war. We had been attacked by the Japanese. The Japanese people were not nice people in those days. The policy of the United States government at that time was to subdue the nation of Japan. And I was willing to do anything I could do to help that out.
In August 1945, 2 atomic bombs were dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. To this day, opinion remains divided as to the real reason behind America's decision to use nuclear weapons.
There was no possible military justification for dropping the bomb on Japan.
No question that there were those in the U.S. military who perceived the next enemy as the Soviet Union.
The planning in October of 1945 had chosen 20 targets in Russia.
In the 70 years since the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, countless books and films have offered many justifications for and arguments against dropping the A-bombs. However, declassified documents give weight to the argument that the bombs were dropped not out of military necessity, but to intimidate the Soviet Union.
やがってずーっと目でその飛行機を追った時にドーン。死体がこんなに埋もれてるんです。そこのところをお母さんが子供を探すにこう歩くとね、お母ちゃんいう声が聞こえるんです。親は顔で張ってた子供の顔を見ても自分の子供だと気がつかない。子供はお母さんを分かるんです。小枝を取ってきましてね、いっぱいウジが湧いてるんです。それを痛い痛い言うのをお母さん一つずつね、これを取らないと明日は肺になってね、また子を見つけるから、だからじゃあ辛抱してねと言ってお母さんが